What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. I, of course, am Austin Carnes from the Two Jagoffs podcast, and I'm joined here with my good friend, Mr. Downtown Nicholas Brown, who recently was announced is now a part of the Two Jagoffs team full time. Of course, we both were the former co-host of Steel City Commuters. That podcast has since ended, kind of merged things, put together our creations, and made it into our own. Welcome to the Two Jagoffs family, Nick. It's great to see you. How's this afternoon slash evening treating you?
It's going good, Austin. Good to be with you. Good to join the Two Jagoffs team. Lots of interviews within the past few months and ready to recap some of the biggest, most important wrestling names and also hammer down and lay down the law on a few of them.
Absolutely. Love the little references there. This is our fifth time doing this. For anybody that is new, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. This, of course, is my personal page. This is where I put out some bonus content, some stuff that I'm working on, demo reels, and other career related things that's not podcast related. So this is definitely a channel to keep in your subscription box because you never know what I'm going to throw at you guys. This is the fifth time, like I said before, Nick and I are doing this. We've done this with every single interview, every single guest that's been on Two Jagoffs. We recap every couple of months just because it's always good to reflect, talk about the guest, talk about the experience, and talk about how the episode turned out overall. So Nick is kind of coming at this from a fan perspective. I, of course, am coming at this from the interview perspective. Nick, you were actually on one of these interviews, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But before we do that, there are a couple of names of people that were on the podcast that I do want to mention that we're not going to go too in depth on. Starting off, obviously, we changed things up a little bit. We had our Thursday episodes, which was mostly weekly predictions, and then our Sunday episodes, which are interviews. On said Thursday episodes, we actually had four guests that were joining us just to do the weekly predictions. So, shout out to Matt Palangi, who made his return, Nate Shivens, who made his debut, Ryan Thiele, and none other than, if I'm reading this name correctly, Nicholas Brown. Those were the four. Those were the four, yeah. It was you. You were on there as well. But no, shout out to you guys. Thank you all so much for coming on to Jagoffs. We really appreciate it. And then Steel City, although it is no longer a podcast, there were three guests we did not talk about: McKenna Smith, Megan Lukic, and Kyle Archer. So thank you three as well. Nick, do you have anything to say about those three guests, real quick?
Kyle was our last one, going out with a bang. You start with a bang and you have to go out with a bang. And so I think Kyle kind of set the stage for how podcast is going to go. Specifically, if you're going to drain an interviewee, uh, get some tips from Kyle because surely drained me, and you can just watch me decline from the start of the episode to the end of the episode. I'm like, oh, let's wrap it up, people.
Oh, that was a fun episode. Now let's talk the two Jagoffs interviews. This is where we're going to go deep. This is where we're going to talk about. And it's funny because the first three interviews we're talking about, they were all uploaded different weeks, but they actually were all recorded in the same day. I did four episodes in one day, one weekly episode, and the first three interviews we're talking about. This one was actually the second interview I did this day, but it was the first one that got uploaded. M.V. Young, the King of Pittsburgh. He is Pittsburgh made, Pittsburgh paid, and internationally laid. That is his catchphrase that he comes out to the ring with. Nick, I'm going to bounce this one over to you first. Watch what you say. This is my boss now we're talking about here. The good boss. Reese Hayes is the bad boss. We don't like Reese Hayes and the leaders by example, but MV's cool. We love MV. He did give me a chop, which I'm not going to lie. I regret. I'm sorry, MV. The MV chops are real, but I'll bounce it over to you. What do you think about this episode?
I like the episode specifically because you got chopped, and that is what Envy is known for. Specifically, my time in Thursday Night Fights, I got to actually see him do a chop in person and can confirm the chop is dangerous and painful, but you got
It
to be
hurts.
chopped. That was my favorite part. The one part I really liked was talking about Stage AE, his Stage AE standing ovation. I really think that's a big moment in a certain time. Many guests don't like to share certain moments. MV really opened up. It took a little bit, but once the episode got kicked off, you got going, you were able to open up a little bit. I really thought his King of Pittsburgh and Road Adventures was really an important part and really was an interesting part to hear. His road adventures, where he wrestles because he's just not he's in Pittsburgh, but he also wrestles with, a lot of different companies. And when you just have a resume full of different experiences, that's something to talk about. That's something to shine. Then, of course, the criticism he gave for the Steelers, my
Pirates.
God, the amount of F-bombs he dropped in the amount of 2 minutes was
Pirates.
very
Pirates.
shocking. He was heavily criticizing them, something that we have not seen from a guest in the wrestling community quite some time, but also from a fan perspective too, of how you're going to lay down the law, trying to steal a little bit of David Lawless thunder, but MV really laid down the law regarding the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pirates, Pirates, Pirates,
I'm
Pirates,
sorry, Pirates.
Pirates.
My Lord, I have never seen a team so brutally battered up.
Oh yeah.
I He did a really good job. But again, MV's a guy, cool guy, very quiet, very keeps himself. I have not yet had an interaction with MV, and I surely do not want to be chopped when I see him.
MV's a great guy once you get to know him. It actually took me a while to have my first interaction with him too, just because MV's a busy guy. I mean, he's the one that runs 880. It's his school, it's his company. But I loved his experiences that he shared. I didn't quite like the chop that I received, but outside of that, fun episode. I found it funny that he asked me, "Hey, is it okay if I cuss on this podcast when I talk about the Pirates?" And I said, "Yeah, go ahead." And then that was just the permission slip to give him unlimited F bombs. So shout out to MV Young. We love MV. He'll definitely be a returning guest down the line. The next guest we're going to talk about, though, was actually a co-interview with my good friend Lucas Coons. Now, Lucas, of course, was on the other half of TME's interview with Gannon Jones Jr., which we recapped a couple months ago. Duke Davis, at the time of that recording, was the IWC World Champion. Since then, we have a new IWC World Champion. We'll talk about him later on. But Duke actually brought the title down because he was champion at the time. Before you go into this one, Nick, there's one personal experience I want to share from this that I absolutely love. The food question might have been one of my favorite segments from this episode. I loved how Duke Davis laid it into Lucas. Because a lot of the times, think about this: the wrestlers usually laid it into me. The script was flipped for once. Duke laid it into Lucas this time around, saying, "How could you not go to the Brazilian Steakhouse or Fuego de Chao? You need to go." Nick, I can confirm I have a gift card for the Brazilian Steakhouse. Me and you got to convince Lucas to go sometime this semester. I don't care what day it is. We are going. I'll skip wrestling. You skip bingo. I don't care. We are going to the Brazilian Steakhouse. And Lucas, you better bet your bottom dollar. I'll pay for you. If you take off a day of Giant Eagle, I'll give you what they're paying for that day, just so you can come to Brazilian Steakhouse. Because an angry Duke Davis is not a fun Duke Davis. I don't want to piss off Duke Davis. He could knock all three of us out with one punch. I
You
don't
don't
want to
want
mess with
the
that guy.
you don't want the meat sweats? I think that's the most important part of this.
Oh, I do want. Dude, listen. The meat sweats from the Brazilian Steakhouse are real. They are good. Have you ever been to Texas D Brazil?
I have not.
They are good. They are real.
Along with lasagna and McDonald's too.
Dude, that's literally my. Ooh, I love it.
I'm not a big McDonald's guy. I mean, I did have a cheeseburger last night at 10 o'clock at night, but I, I, it was interesting food choices, but Texas D Brazil definitely on the list. The one thing I liked about Duke Davis too is how him and his teammate Gannon Jones Jr. evolved. Kind of given like a little bit of a backstory and how they became some kind of partners. And of course, Duke Davis, with the singles title and multiple tag team reigns, thought that was very interesting because tag teaming is very important, especially when you look at your singles versus tag teaming, when you look at your stats. Another one I really liked about Duke Davis is his most significant tag team rivals because a lot of the times wrestlers don't want to talk about who their biggest rivals are. In this case, Duke Davis did shed a lot of light, and Duke is what, 6'5", 6'6",
He's
maybe
tall.
6'7"?
No, no,
No.
6'5".
Okay. But no, Duke was really cool. Definitely want to meet Duke one day. But definitely interesting food choices. That was the biggest takeaway is you do not want an angry Duke regarding Texas D Brazil.
No, and shout out to Duke Davis by following the golden rule of professional wrestling. Bring your championships down on the podcast. That is the one thing I ask. That is what I'm gonna. You know how you always criticize people, Nick Brown, on how much they brought out their inner Jagoff.
Yes.
I'm gonna start criticizing the wrestlers and hold them to a standard. You need to bring your championships down. If you have a championship, I have a nice table. Just bring it. I might not recognize you as a champion if you don't, because if the audience can't see that you're a champion, then why should I even call you a champion? You know what I mean? Duke Davis, he was a proud champion, and I respect that. Next up, the gavel, David Lawless. I have a lot to say about this man, but I'm gonna give it to you first, Nick. I know that you enjoyed this one a little bit. What'd you think of David?
Really liked David because I think we went to Rise the week after this interview happened.
Yes,
So
we
we
did.
went to Rise Wrestling the week after, and if I remember correctly, 80% of the ownership was on the line of this
100,
match and how
100%.
everything
Yeah.
correlated. So it was very interesting to hear the interview, go to Rise, watch Lawless in action, and then kind of reflect on it afterwards. He talked a lot in what a career. Let's just be honest. The amount of championships, belts, anything that you name, David Lawless has. It's ridiculous. But I think the biggest takeaway, and you also have this issue, not even an issue, but this kind of interchanging, intertwining tribalism for all the different companies you work for. David Lawless kind of walked you through, the love, the hate, and the tribalism in independent wrestling because it is the most important thing in the business. You do not want to upset your connections, but you also want to make the most out of every opportunity that is given to you. And David Lawless knows how to navigate it. He's been in this business for years. Now he's retired. He's the perfect person to get advice from because of all the different wrestling communities around AEW, Rise, 2PW, 880, IWC, you name it. Everybody is going to have tribalism because of your reputation, who you are, and they want to just hold you where instead of spreading the wealth a little bit and getting you a little bit of experience because Rise is very different from 880 compared to IWC, compared to 2PW. All these different companies and this tribalism is very important, not only in this industry, wrestling industry, but in any industry that you get into. Lawless was able to kind of gavel your way through this and pounce your way through as an attorney and walk you through step by step.
Can I be honest with you? I think David Lawless, out of every guest that we've had, and again, this is no shade or disrespect to anybody. We've had a lot of broadcasters and politicians on too. I think David Lawless was the best spoken guest that I've had on any of my podcasts. Every answer he gave was clear, concise, and anybody can understand it. Whether you are the biggest wrestling fan known to man like I am, or someone who's maybe been to one or two shows like yourself. And anybody can take something away from this interview. And I usually say that a lot about a lot of my episodes, but in all fairness, David Lawless, I would recommend to anybody. He is such a genuine guy. And I don't like using the phrase he's such a good dude because Nick Brown likes to make fun of me a lot off camera saying that I say it too much. But if I had to pick a man that like out of every interview that I've had so far and just say like, hey, who's someone you would hang out with or go to for advice or look up to as a mentor, it would be David Lawless. David Lawless, when I messaged him to do this interview, I've had one interaction with him my entire life. I've never seen him outside of being a fan before. So my first real conversation with him was through Instagram for a couple of weeks, then at 880 briefly just to get some notes for commentary, and then at two Jagoffs. And ever since then, David Lawless has been someone that I consider to be close. So he is such a personable person. Love David Lawless to death. Thank you so much for doing that interview. It was amazing. Honestly, it might be probably in my top three favorites of all time. If we have to do a new ranking list, David Lawless might be number one now.
I will
He's
be the judge of that.
yeah, no, we gotta do an updated one by next year. But David Lawless is definitely one of my favorites. Next up, we did have a wrestling broadcaster. We did the likes of Tony Tondero. We've done the likes of Joe Dombrowski. Of course, you're looking at another wrestling broadcaster right here. Oh, don't roll your eyes. But we got Nick Lendl. Lendl, of course, is one of the voices of IWC. He does ring announcing. He does a lot of boxing events too. And he actually just posted this on social media. I thought it was adorable. He was calling his, I think it was his daughter's softball or daughter's wiffle ball or something. I don't know what it was, but he was posting something with his daughters, which I thought was pretty cool. And you could tell he really loves them based on how he was talking about them in the episode. Nick, floor is yours. From one Nick to another. What do you think?
I actually got to meet Nick in person. This was an
You did.
interview I got to be in person for. I did not stay for the interview fully. I was just able to help with the promo and talk with Nick. He was in a little bit of a hurry. He was like mad at himself because he could not find the media hub. So my time with Nick was a little bit short. The big thing that I thought that was interesting is he talked about ring announcing versus play-by-play commentary because you were actually in play-by-play versus him and ringside. And so that's a very important process in wrestling regarding, your talents and what you as an individual were able to do. And he kind of walked you through what the specifics were, what the pros and cons were, why he thinks ring announcing is better than play-by-play commentary. It was very interesting. And then, of course, you know, his advice. I think every guest gives perfect advice, and his trust, Nick's trust in this process, in this industry, and his advice that he gave to the viewers, to the listeners, was very important. And I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it's like specific advice only for you to take per your individual. I don't remember the whole thing, but it was really good, really deep down advice. Nick was really my favorite because he's like a Toddy, he's like a you, he's just like a mini for like all these people are like you work together in this industry. And Nick was very pleasurable to talk to. A lot of these people don't like to talk one-on-one off camera in this industry, but Nick was very personable and I like his hairstyle. It's just like mine, if mine was not curly.
Yeah, I mean, your name's Nick, his name's Nick. You both got hairstyle. You both got some interesting hairstyles, to say the least. I'm messing with you, but no, I love Nick Lendl. Lendl's a mentor as well. I've gotten to call several matches at IWC Wrestling with him, and he's someone that I consider to be a friend now in this business, a mentor, somebody that I can ask questions to, pick his brain a little bit. And I'm very happy with the way this interview went. Obviously, he got a little bit lost in the way there, and even Lendl will be the first to tell you that he is god awful with directions. Joe was complaining the entire time at IWC last show about Lendl and his poor directions, so it's not just me saying this. There is a lot of other people saying this as well. Nick, if you're listening, you know it's true. But no, in all seriousness, I love Nick Lendl, and I'm very happy he came on the podcast, and I'm very happy on the unfiltered aspect that he added to this. He did not hold back at all. He told you straight up, I don't like commentary. I'm only doing it because they need me. I would rather do ring announcing. And then he talked about Madison Square Garden, which was peak. That was a great moment. Next
Oh,
interview, I'm very excited for this one. You were on this one. It was a crossover. It was the final crossover in history between Steel City Commuters and two Jagoffs. And what a better one to end off with than none other than Ted Black. Now I'll let you take the floor on this one, Nick. Obviously, we already talked about our Duquesne Club experience on Steel City Commuters, which happened after the interview. But talking about the interview itself, what did you think?
well, Ted was really the only guest that invited us to lunch and actually took us to a place that we went. So shout out to Ted. But let's just say Ted Black has an amazing, amazing resume. Long, filled resume with tons of experience from the TV business aspect to the fundraising aspect to the day-to-day operations of a business aspect. Ted's role not only at Point Park, but also his, at the Penguins, at the New York team, whatever business he has, Ted has a legacy that he's able to build on, and he has the connections that are able to help us in this world. I really thought it was interesting because he did not expect to actually end up at the Pittsburgh Penguins for a short period of time.
Nope.
His path to the Penguins, I thought it was very interesting how he detailed his path and the connections he made, with the owner, with the CEO, calling each other, and just all these different forms of messaging. When one door closes, another one opens. And in this case, it was to the Pittsburgh Penguins, a team that he never thought he would be able to. And he walked, now I sound like a commentator, play by play in this case of how he got to the Penguins. But I also think, too, the Buffalo Sabres. I never knew that he was at any part of that. And Ted has so much experience. I probably could have picked his brain for another 2 to 3 hours on the marketing side, on the day-to-day operations, on any aspect. Ted is an amazing individual and knows anything and everything about this business. If you want to navigate hard times, this is the guy to go to. He has the answers. He will find a way to get the answers.
It's clear as day Ted Black sees something in both of us. I mean, let's pat ourselves on the back for a sec too, Nick, and be proud of this interview. This interview really changed both of our trajectories at Point Park University. What I mean by that is we already got trust enough with Dean Palo, Sherry Payne, Chris Brusalis, These are all names that came on our podcast, took the time out of their busy days to come down, have a conversation with us, joke around a little bit, and share some advice and point us in the right direction. Ted Black is like the top of the food chain in terms of guests we could have had on. Literally, when we went to the Duquesne Club, who was right there at the table next to us? It was President Chris Brusalis. So that just shows we were in places we probably shouldn't have been, but in the mind of Ted Black and Chris Brusalis, we will be there one day. Which that's definitely some big shoes to fill and some big promises to keep. And I feel like if on the path we're going right now, we will be just fine. But Ted Black gave me some confidence in myself as a speaker, and myself as a podcaster, and myself as a student, as myself, honestly, just as a person, knowing that, okay, if someone at this status and this level, who literally was three doors down from Mario Lemieux for over a decade, believes in us, believes in this podcast, believes in two Jagoffs, then why shouldn't we believe in it? And Ted Black, giving that advice, talking about his illustrious career, was so cool to actually be able to put on our platform. So thank you, Ted, for coming on. And thank you so much for the lunch as well. You certainly set the bar for our future guests going into 2026. We really appreciate that. I think it's time we talk about Brandon St. James, Satan's favorite saint. You weren't behind the scenes for this one. It was Carl, Kevin. He was behind the scenes for it.
Oh boy.
Oh boy is right. I do love me some BSJ. What do you think of Brandon?
He dawned on me a little bit. It took me a little bit to get used to him and his style. It's a very unique style that BSJ holds. It's a very different style, I would say, to most wrestlers, but he doesn't take any shit and will give it right back to you. That's the most fun part and my favorite part is you think you have a one up on him while he's like three steps ahead of you. So he knows exactly what's going on, exactly what he is. I didn't know that he was an out of state or what, North Carolina, West Virginia, like Southern states too. He has a lot of wrestling business gigs too, right?
Yeah, yeah, he does. Oh yeah, he travels a lot. Yeah, he
He
Canada's the big one.
Oh, Canada.
No,
Yes.
no.
That is something cool that you don't see in many wrestlers is going across the border and coming back and just the experiences. And I think BSJ stands out particularly for that is how he does Canada, how he does IWC, how he does, you
880.
know, locally. It's amazing at what BSJ is. Satan's favorite saint. I mean, you're on that list with him, so you two are rocking along together.
Well, I did try to join. Well, he's a big 880 guy, and I did try to join his group, Total Fucking Chaos (TFC).
He says no.
Yeah, I'm not punk enough, apparently.
You're not punk enough. I would love to see Punk Austin Carnes.
I wouldn't. Could you imagine me with green hair and a leather jacket rocking the TFC merch? I don't. I mean, no disrespect to Brandon. Okay, listen, Brandon, if you're listening to this episode right now, I respect you. You're a friend. I really appreciate you coming down to the podcast. But I don't agree with anything that your group does. I mean, Will Carroll, he's a goofy little guy. I'll be honest with you. He's a goofy little guy. You got Brandon, which I mean, Brandon's great, but I mean, every time he crosses the border, he does something questionable, in my opinion. I called Canadian Deathmatch at the last event, and I didn't agree with his actions. I didn't like how he beat Jesse Mack with a light tube. I don't think that was deservable. And then hardcore. I don't know if you've seen this man, Nick Brown. This man scares the ever living piss out of me. I last time I saw hardcore, he came out to the ring and oh my gosh, no, 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 no. And apparently he wants me. I don't know what I did. Hardcore, if you're listening, I want no problems with you, my friend. I'm a 22-year-old from the suburbs of Carnegie. I have nothing to do with this TFC nonsense that you guys are putting on. So, TFC, I will stay in my lane. I will happily do the podcast and the stuff behind the camera and behind the microphone, and you guys can beat the hell out of whoever you guys want to. I think that's a fair trade-off, don't you, Nick? Don't you think that's fair?
Yes. I think that's a good trade-off.
You think so? You think I'm safe?
We'll see.
What do you
No,
mean we'll
no
see?
promises.
What do you mean we'll see? You better not be in cahoots with them, damn it.
I'm not at liberty to say.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. But BSJ was a fun interview. I did have a lot of fun with BSJ. This is gonna be the fun one. This is gonna be the one we're gonna be talking about for a minute. Psychedelic Dreams. Sammy Suntimer and Aleo Dream at the time they were the 880 tag team champions. I feel like it's a curse. Every time they bring the title down, they lose him right away. Duke lost it after he came on, and then Psychedelic Dreams lost it. And guess who they lost it to?
The
Some
leaders.
guy named John and Clayton King, the leaders by example. They are the tag team champions. Are you kidding me? Christmas is ruined. The New Year's is ruined because of this. But yeah, it's bad. But not only was Psychedelic Dreams on the podcast, we actually had two special guest appearances on the podcast. Good old Billy the Alien was there. We love Billy the Alien. He made an appearance. I love Billy, and he likes me. He actually likes me, so that's good to know. And Carl Jr. was there. Good old Mike. Carl Jr. himself in the flesh. What do you think of this episode? You were there for behind the scenes. What a chaotic day.
I was there behind the scenes. Let's say Mike was able to hold his composure most of the time.
Most.
Sammy and Aleo kept looking off camera. I wasn't getting the death stare like I used to from Derek. It was a distinct look from Sammy and Aleo trying to rage bait Mike, Carl Jr., whatever in the hell you want to call him, and it worked. It finally worked. But I didn't know how old Sammy was. Very young.
Both are.
Both are. What is it? 19?
I want to say 19 and 20. I could be wrong.
19 and 20. But Aleo was the first one I actually met at Thursday Night Fights and was really cool when I came out, standing outside the shop
Yeah, that's true.
when
That's
we were
true.
back in
Southside.
Southside. And Sammy come over to me when we were in the room and it was cold, shake my hand and talked. This was really a good interview on when you want to start young and you want to pursue a dream. go for it. You will accomplish it. And I think that's what Sammy and Alo, that's the biggest takeaway for me in this interview. And Mike is going to be he's a wrestler trainee in progress. I'm curious to see how his storyline develops, if he distances himself with Billy the Alien and this crew, if he's part of some guy named John crew, leaders by example. There's this storyline that is shifting that I think is going to be a wait and see mode because it definitely could have impacts on the belts later down the line and even your storyline later down the line.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting conflicts that's going on with the that whole storyline and shebang because you got the leaders, you got Sammy and Alea, you got Billy, you got Carl. Can't forget about Carl too, and now Carl Jr. My biggest takeaway from this interview, and I think you hit the nail on the coffin, they're young. They are very young, and I love the advice that you gave saying that if you're young and you want to pursue a dream, do it young. Nick, that's exactly what we're doing right now. We're doing the exact same thing they're doing. Obviously, we're not out there competing for tag team gold like they are, but we're still putting in the grind, putting in the work, putting in the effort here on Zoom and the media hub in person. When I travel for wrestling, when you travel for your stuff. So, oh, excuse me. When we do that stuff, that is our way of putting ourselves out there and chasing this dream. So I think it's very inspiring that they did that. And that is pretty cool. You did bring that up because now that I think about it, the two wrestlers that definitely gave you the most time over at 880 was actually Sammy and Aleo. They were the ones that did talk to you the most. Aleo stood outside and talked to us for a minute in the cold. And then Sammy came over. And Sammy even took a selfie with us, actually.
Yes.
We did take a selfie with Sammy. So that was pretty cool. Um, I had a lot of fun with this interview too because I did like the appearance from Mike. I think Mike popping in was pretty funny because that eventually led to me going on his podcast, Tailgate Talks. So that was a lot of fun. I got to go on there and kind of pick on him a little bit and some of his NFL takes and make fun of their NFL tier lists, but that's a different story for a different day. I definitely would love to have Sammy and Alea both back on. They are fun guys to be around, and they don't hold back. They both have different styles, but it bounces very well off each other. Like Aleo, the way Aleo talks and the way Sammy talks, and their demeanors are completely different, but they have such good chemistry. It's like it reminds me of me and you actually. It really does, like our chemistry, because I kind of come from this like more like wrestling extreme background. You kind of come from this more laid back bingo background, but we still bounce off each other very well. You know what I mean?
And it's very interesting how they always looked at each other and said, "Do you want to go first? Do you want me to take it or do you want to take
Very
it?"
respectful.
And very respectful and how it like rotated. And they actually not only bounced off each other, but they also kind of created divisions within itself because if Sammy wasn't happy with an answer Aleo gave, it was like a pushback and vice versa. And that's like the funniest part of it is because them two didn't even plan their responses and they were like trying to make sure they were in sync and in correlation.
Yeah, it was funny, and Sammy even got on me a couple of times too. He called me OJ. Called me OJ Simpson.
I'm not even gonna attempt to get myself in that trap.
I wouldn't. I don't want to get trapped in it either. I don't know where it came from. He asked me if the glove fit, and I said I don't know what you're talking about, my friend. But okay. But no, we love Sammy. We love Aleo. We love Psychedelic Dreams. Just please do me a favor going forward. Please, 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 please take the titles off the leaders. Please, Sammy. Please, Aleo. I really can't stand John and Clayton.
No, no, as an unbiased journalist as you should be, you have to let this play out in the works. So I'm gonna put you in your place.
You're right.
I know I'm
I know,
right.
but you gotta. Well, here's the thing, Nick. Nick, you gotta understand where I'm coming from. You gotta understand where I'm coming from. I get ripped. I don't even get kicked off commentary anymore. I hope you know that. I don't know if you noticed or not. I actually don't get kicked off anymore. I get removed from commentary to be a judge for my boss, Reese Hayes, because the hardcore title is now the pure title. And for some reason, Marco was a judge one week. Clayton was a judge. At Unholy Holiday 3, Carl, of all people, was a judge. He's a fan, and they pulled him from the front row, and they made him a judge. And then why me? Like I understand Carl, I understand Marco, I understand Clayton. Yeah, they're all the leaders. I get it. But you left poor Tony Tondera by himself, and then why? Why me? Why me?
As an unbiased journalist, you just have to let it all play out in the works and you have to go with the flow. You cannot
Go
disrupt
with
the
the
process.
flow. John picked me up twice in one week, Nick. He picked me up once like a baby and carried me around like a toddler, and the second week he fireman's carried me all the way to the bar.
That's just what
And he took
happens.
my jacket. He took my damn suit jackets.
He does look good in that jacket. So
No, he does not.
I
No, he
commend
does
him for
not.
I commend him for that.
He wore my Christmas jacket. Oh my gosh. He made me take family photos. I didn't want to do that. He held me against my will. Made me take family photos with the Carls.
Well, when you are in this industry and you're so-called an unbiased journalist, tend to happen. You kind of you just you're too hard on them. You're too hard on one and not the other. You have to let them play it out.
All right. Well, unbiased Austin says psychedelic dreams. Good luck. No, no, no. You'll see this. Unbiased Austin says Sammy and Aleo. Good luck going forward. And John and Clayton, I wish you nothing but the best. How about that?
That's the spirit. Almost.
Almost. Okay. Well,
Almost.
I can't stomach their guts either way. Next up, one more guest. Final guest of the episode that we're going to be talking about today. The most recent guest from this past week, actually. The IWC World Champion. Yeah, we talked about two different world champions from IWC in one episode, and he brought the title down. So if history repeats itself, Jamie's probably losing in the next month or two. Just kidding. Jamie Jamison came on the podcast. I had a lot of fun with this one. Oh, what's wrong? Is your camera's bouncing around? Is that what makes you laugh?
Now, Jamie Jameson, I said this yesterday, just a few days ago in Still City, is a
Oh no.
mix of Carl and is a mix of Mike, the two put together, and it's like a whole new character, or a whole new person. You have to give it to Jamie for the looks, for the hair, for everything. The most most important part of this interview was him discussing his worst injuries. Typically in this industry, wrestlers do not want to talk about injuries, do not want to talk about falls, they don't want to talk about anything. They want to talk about success only. When you can counter that and talk about your worst injuries, talk about your worst enemies, talk about your worst matches, you have a one up on everybody. And that's what Jamie did is he talked about all the worst things. He also highlighted the positives, but he also talked about the worst things. I really thought, it was very interesting his review and his commentary on certain topics like yours, trying to get you in the business and trying to hear his thoughts and how his ideas bounced off of yours and just trying to get you to who you want to be and where you want to be because Jamie's been doing this for a while and he certainly has the connections. I also thought it was very interesting, not only his injuries, but also missed opportunities and things that he kind of bypassed, he skipped. That's an important part of the business. You have to recognize when you could have made a better decision, and that makes you a better person. That not only makes you stronger, but it puts you in another mindset that I think Jamie has a one up on everybody. Jamie is a guest that certainly stands out. I definitely would rank him top five if we had to do a new ranking interview, because of his personality, because of his fit, because of his inner Jagoff role, because of his role in general. Jamie stands out to me as a high pro wrestler.
I love Jamie Jamison. I don't care what anybody says. I know he's a heel. I know he pushed me into the wall in the promo, and he talked a lot of trash on Duke Davis, who I have nothing but respect for. But Jamie Jamison is one of the nicest human beings you ever meet. He stayed back for a good 2 hours, probably, to talk to me and Kevin. Kevin was behind the scenes for it, to talk about life, wrestling, careers, jobs, everything. Jamie has an inspiring story because he took a lot of bumps. He's obviously done death matches. He's done regular wrestling. He was a face for a while. Now he's a heel. He is Xander Gabriel, the Hammer Lord, the Country Hammer, you name it. Jamie Jamison's been through a lot of different character changes and phases throughout his career. And this interview right here and him becoming IWC World Champion honestly is the cherry on top. He is now about to have a child as well, so congratulations to Jamie on that as well. I mean, this man is living life right now. He's having a kid. He's winning. He won the world title in the company that he used to go to as a fan. I mean, what more could you ask for, Jamie? Everything that's coming your way, my friend, you absolutely deserve it. And I don't think I even mentioned this on camera. This will be my first time talking about this. The message that he sent me the night that after we got done recording, it was probably about 5 or 6 paragraphs long. I'm not going to go into detail on it because I feel like it's best to keep that private, but let's just say Jamie shared some very encouraging words and some motivating words about me and my career. And I'm not going to lie, I shed a couple of tears reading it. I definitely shed a couple of tears reading it. So, Jamie, you are a friend in this business. You're someone that I'm going to definitely talk to at every single event. I've already talked to Jamie at almost every event before, but Jamie is someone that is going to be added to the selfie lineup now, obviously. You know, I have to get my selfies with all the former Two Jagoffs guests every show. Pretty soon, I'm gonna be taking a picture with the whole damn locker room when it's all said and done. But shout out to Jamie Jameson. Gave me one of my best interviews. The interview itself, I was actually pretty mad at. I was mad at it. We had a lady come in and interrupt it actually to get her jacket, and then we had a couple of other mishaps before and after the interview. Nothing that I did or Jamie did per se, but I feel like I could have done a better job. I'm just hard on myself. But Jamie still gave me a really good hour worth of content. So thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Jamie Jameson.
The push was the best.
The
Pushing
push,
into a new year.
he pushed me with authority. I mean, I wasn't trying to trigger him. I was just bringing up the fact that Duke Davis is going to come back for that title eventually. I mean, it's a fact. Duke said it himself. So I don't
Just
know.
because someone says something doesn't mean it's true.
Are you going to question Duke Davis? Listen, that's the last person that I would question,
I
Nick.
am surely questioning Duke Davis because as a unbiased journalist, I will press and push back on certain statements that are made.
Listen, Duke Davis could slap me and you would feel it in New Kensington. I'm just saying. Duke Davis is not someone to mess with.
As an unbiased journalist, I have to push back until it actually comes to tuition. If it comes true, great. But as an unbiased journalist, I have to question that mentality, and you have to back it up with some evidence.
Well, be that as it may, congratulations to Jamie Jameson, though. Of course, Reloaded is February 21st. Mark's court time, Elizabeth, PA. So we're going to see a lot of different changes with the reset button. We don't even know who Jamie is facing yet. We're not going to find out to the night of. So it's going to be
Maybe
a
it's
fun.
you.
If the reset button chooses me to fight Jamie Jameson, I might actually cry. I would lose. I would lay down and just let him pin me. There's no. You think I could beat Jamie Jameson? Are you kidding me? Did you not see what he did at the media hub?
Because you're not leading by example.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, on that note, thank you all so much for tuning in to the YouTube channel today for this bonus episode. We recapped a lot of interviews, a lot more than we usually do. Next week, this upcoming weekend, excuse me, KC Wars interview is coming out. So next time we do this in like 2 or 3 months, whenever we have some free time on Zoom, KC War will be the first episode we start off talking about. Nick Brown, I'm going to give you the final words. Anything you want to say about these guests that we talked about today?
Amazing guests. Excited to see this lineup continue. Excited to be part of the team. A lot more to talk about as we jump into the new year, as we leap into the new year. As 26 is already off to a bang.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into the YouTube channel. Go show some love to Nicholas Brown on his social media pages and yours truly, of course. I'm Austin Carnes. That's Downtown Nick Brown, and we'll see you all in the next one. Peace.
Peace.